this video, we cover the campaigns in Egypt, Acarnania, and Macedon. This was the period during which Iphicrates introduced his new troop type, the Iphicratean peltast, and also his Iphicratean boots. Iphicrates is supposed to have carried out his famous reforms before going to Egypt about 378 BC. He was sent there by Athens with a force of 20,000 mercenaries to assist the Persians to reconquer their former satrapy. There were supposedly 200,000 troops in the Persian army. The combined army travelled by ship to the mouth of the Nile. They landed on a wide beach with an advance guard of 3,000 men at a walled stronghold that was held by the Egyptians. You will be commanding Iphicrates' reformed army with Persian allies against the Egyptian rebels. Arguments rages over the Iphicratean peltast as to exactly what it was. One view of it is that they are very similar to phalangites. In Field of Glory 2, they are thureophoroi. The Egyptians rushed out with 3,000 horse and infantry, and a sharp battle ensued. However, the Persians were constantly reinforced from their ships, and the Egyptians were surrounded and driven back into the city, closely pursued by Iphicrates' men, who took possession of the fortress. Iphicrates wanted to immediately follow up this success by an attack on the Egyptian capital, Memphis, but Pharnabazos refused to allow it without reinforcements. The delay was used by the Egyptians to reinforce their own troops and launch repeated attacks. Finally, the Nile flooded and the whole Persian army left. Iphicrates secretly fled on the way back to avoid being blamed for the disaster. After the failure of the Egyptian expedition, Iphicrates returned to Athens. The Athenians then sent him out on an expedition to Corcyra in 372 BC. He is well known for his efforts at training the crews on the way. He picked up some peltasts at Corcyra and then went raiding on the coast of Acarnania. And this campaign lasted about 3 years. And for this campaign, he armed the rowers in his fleet as his peltasts. His main problem was that the Athenians could not afford to pay him enough to finance the expedition, so he spent most of his time raiding and blackmailing cities for the money to pay his crews. The situation in Athens was pretty bad as far as being able to pay for ships and men at this stage. In this battle, you will be taking your reformed army up against the Acarnanians. After the peace of 371 BC, Iphicrates returned to Macedonia and Thrace. At this point, we have to try and explain the really complicated politics of the Macedonian monarchy. But here we go. Iphicrates was the brother, by adoption, of the sons of Amyntas III of Macedonia, who had died of old age. A pretender of the Macedonian throne, Pausanias, invaded Macedonia. He was very popular and was attracting support there. Eurydice, widow of Amyntas III and queen of Macedon, asked Iphicrates to protect the throne for her two sons, who were elder brothers of Philip II of Macedon. Philip was a hostage in Thebes. Iphicrates drove out Pausanias. He is said to have had Philip II of Macedon on his knee while Philip was a boy, and it is thought that Iphicrates may have had some influence on Philip. In this battle, you will command an early-style Royal Macedonian army against some upstart Macedonian rebels.